Thank you for joining Effortless Attraction. My name is Evelyn McAleer. I'm the author of A Life You Want, Effortless, and The Woman's Journey. I'm a life coach, business mentor, and inspirational speaker. And my greatest value is making a difference in people's lives. So I hope through these podcasts, I can make a difference to your life. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, whoever can get to join in on another Effortless Attraction podcast. Well, today I am joined by the beautiful Cliodhna Fullen. And I know anybody that will be Googling you or looking up your name, I'm going to spell Cliodhna. It's Cliodhna. Cliodhna Fullen, the lovely Gaelic spelling. Cliodhna is from County Tyrone, Carrickmore. She's a personal development coach and also a TV and YouTube presenter and a very busy mummy as well, flat out with being the mother. Cliodhna, you're most welcome today.
Thank you, Evelyn. Delighted to be here.
That's wonderful. I love just these random conversations with no questions, no nothing, and just allow the conversation to flow. I'm going to start you off with your personal development, Cliodhna. I know personally from experience myself, and for a lot of people that get into personal development, they're coming from a journey of their own. So what took you down this avenue yourself?
Well, I suppose I was always into personal development, but probably didn't realize that I was at such a young age. But around 2006, 2007, just around the time The Secret was launched by Rhonda Byrne, an aunt of mine was sadly dying of cancer, and she gave me the book. And her words were to me, "You're the only person I can think that could read this book and live by this book." So after losing her, that year I won the Tyrone Rose of Tralee. I literally digested myself into that book. I literally read it from start to finish and back over again. I've probably read it a million times since. It was probably just more a spiritual journey at the start because of who gave it to me. So it kind of headed off in the spiritual journey. But then I started to go down then the personal development journey. And I started to realize hidden traumas that were starting to surface. I was starting to look at people very differently, not in a judgmental way, but I wasn't seeing what you physically see. I was seeing and feeling more. And I couldn't really understand what was going on. So I was getting married and so excited to start having children. And then bang, was hit with an illness and I had to fight a brain disease for just over a year. So during that time, personal development really came to the surface of who I am at the core, who I wanted to be, a better version of me. Even though I knew I was a good person, I wanted to be a better version. I was starting, as I said, to look at people very, very differently. And then I started to get really deep into the research about 10, 11 years ago. Of personal development and the way the mind works and their subconscious mind and energy and things like that. And I was relatively young. I was only turning 30. So it has been like a 10-year journey of study, of courses, of working with people. But most importantly, probably most profoundly, working on myself and understanding how different we all are. And I just felt, as you probably have too, and many people who have done personal development journeys here or are coaches themselves, you fall deeply in love with it because of how much it's helped you as an individual. You don't want to be screaming it from the rooftops because that's what people get a wee bit carried away doing, but you want to help as many people as you possibly humanly can. And then when COVID hit, that allowed me to go online. It gave me that push. I've been talking about going online for a long time. I never did it. And COVID gave me the push to go online so I could reach more people. So that's kind of how I got into it. And just I'm currently, I'm studying every day of my life. I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I join a reading club with mentors from all over. And we're constantly talking and learning and sharing, books, podcasts, courses. I like to do a course at least once a year so that I'm kept well in the loop. And I suppose it's an honor of a job to be able to do.
It's lovely listening to you there because it's like when the phrase life shows up as you, it's almost like hearing myself. And, you know, I suppose whenever you listen to other people, you say, gosh, it's the same thing. But you just hit the nail on the head there when you said about The Secret, which was a big thing, again, was handed to me. And I could not wait. It's like something that made sense, even though, and it's like Louise Hay, even though I've yet to experience, this makes sense. To a lot of people, we need logical or show me, and then I'll believe. And you can show people over and over and over again, but the doubt and the belief. So that word spirituality, and I know, as Wayne Dyer says, the word water will never make you wet, is to experience that. Spirituality was the word for me also, to feel that there's more, as a connection, there's something more, there has to be more. And we've always had this ceiling. So it's beautiful to sit and listen. And now, as you say, at the start, I'm sure, Cliodhna, whenever you're doing this, you felt probably like a lone soldier. Is there anybody else on this personal? Can I talk to people about this? Are they going to think that I am weird? And then the next thing, our energy attracts more people back to say, hold on, there's a whole lot of us here.
Can be. I suppose it's like any journey anybody goes on, training for a marathon, working on your mental health. You know, if you're going through depression, if you've just been diagnosed with an illness or deep in grief, everybody experiences feeling alone. And you can't really compare it because everybody's experiencing it differently from their perception, from their life experiences and what they're feeling and thinking. When I started this back in 2007, I really thought I was the only person in the world that knew this secret. So I was like, and I remember thinking, if only I'd been given this 10 years prior, it would have helped me through school, because I was so easily distracted in school. A teacher would present themselves in front of me and I was reading their energy. So why are they scratching their head when they said that sentence? Why did they say it like that? Could they not have said it like this? And I was constantly in my head for the future and I couldn't be present. So as a teenager, you know, into adolescence, I really felt it hard to be present. And I think then comes everything else comes with that: the loneliness, the confusion. Is there something wrong with you? Why is people not thinking like you? Why can you not stand being around certain people? Their energies were just too heavy for me. But back then you didn't understand it, so you did feel quite alone. And then as the journey just started off very gently, the journey helped me navigate my way through trauma that I had experienced. And it just helped me understand Cliodhna better. And then when you really understand who you are, you then understand why other people are the way they are. Mm-hmm. So then that brought me then deep into the study of Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Wayne Dyer. My first person I ever listened to on YouTube was Jim Rohn. And I just saturated my day with his teachings. And he spoke very like the way my daddy speaks. So I could relate to him really, really clearly and really understand where he was coming from. But then I suppose I was very fortunate to have, you know, and still have a loving family and loving parents and loving family and friends around, which kind of keeps you grounded. So then, but you know what I just said the other day, Evelyn, it's so lovely now that I'm at a stage where I can have these conversations with people, because I once upon a time used to sit and dream about talking about the universe and talking about how we're more than our body and talking about, you know, religion and all the areas that we cover. I used to sit in my head and just dream of these conversations. Where now I got an injury a couple of weeks ago and people are saying, the universe wants you to slow down.
Hello.
I love this. I love it now. Just everywhere you go, people are, have you read this book, Cliodhna? Have you listened to this podcast? Have you ever heard of Bob Proctor? And you're like, this is just deadly. And I might have taken how many years, like from 2007 to now, it's just taken that length, 16 years. So it's lovely now to be in it, because it makes my job, and probably you the same, it makes your job a lot easier.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like a job. It doesn't feel like a job. And as you say, the early rise in the morning, I know it's difficult for people at the start because your body's so conditioned, but once you get up, and it's that beautiful time of the morning, I know for myself, to connect. And I just sit and guide me today. I am here, I am ready, I am open, guide me, you know, and not to feel weird to that. I talk to this, whatever it is, this unknown, a higher version of myself, the higher, if it's God that people choose to call it, it's not weird, because I think it makes, for me, it gives me a whole feeling, a connection, home. That's the word and every time I could cry when I hear people talk about home. And it's not the bricks and mortar. Home's never far away if you connect into it, Cliodhna. You said there that you went through an illness yourself, which a lot of people is presented to people in lives now. And I think when people come or they've been diagnosed with something, it's difficult for people not to pity, not to feel sorry. I think it's the wrong energy we feed people. If you're giving them anything, give them hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel that? I'm just now, the whole my neck, I'm just covered in goosebumps, but this is always a great sign.
Well, when I presented with stroke-like symptoms, I think Hannah Marie was 4 months old. So I was in the prime of motherhood. I couldn't wait. I am not joking, Evelyn. My P1 teacher can vouch for this. I have wanted to be a mummy since I can remember. It was like when people talk about their earliest memories, all I ever wanted to be is a mother. And I delivered a baby when a doll, not a baby, I delivered a doll in primary 1 to my primary 1 class and told them where babies come from. And they have no idea how I would have known this knowledge, because we didn't have TV really back then in 1983 or 7. And, you only had 2 or 3 channels. So there was nothing like it. I just knew who I was and what I was here for and what I wanted to be. So then when I had Hannah Marie, I got stuck in this fear, and the fear was so heavy and it was so dark, and I knew it wasn't postnatal depression. I could understand it, but I knew it was just fear, and it was the fear that I would have carried as a child. And fear is a really dark, heavy thing to carry. It interferes with every part of your life, and it was even interfering with me breastfeeding Hannah Marie. I would have made sure Barry was wakened as I was feeding her, because I could feel something more than me. It wasn't just within me, it was around me, it was everywhere. And I know I literally made myself sick. I made myself sick with worry. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. There was different things going on. And then I got sick. So I presented with stroke-like symptoms, and it was more like a flu. And then I was in the Royal in Belfast for 6 weeks at a time for treatment and for tests, and just trying to get to the bottom of what it was. But of course, Mrs. Positive Pants was coming in going, I'm fine, you work on your end and I'll work on my end. And they probably thought, we've got a good one here, this is good crack. But I know it helped, because when you're lying there and you're hooked to 2 machines and you can't move, only place you can go is in your mind. So the only place you can work on is in your mind. The only place you can exercise is your mind. The only place you can focus on is your mind. It's all you have. So they were taking away my physical, part of me and working on it. And then that gave me the opportunity to work on me. And crazy things happened. I attracted a lot of different healers and religious leaders and different things, to the ward. And it was just a journey that I just knew I had to start embracing as opposed to resisting, because we all know what Wayne Dyer says about, the more we resist, it'll persist. And I think that's what it took for me to say, okay, Cliodhna, you've got something here. There's something we can work on. We've all got a power. Yours is presenting a wee bit, heavier now. We need to start listening. And I did. And that's, I suppose, coming 11 years when I started to really listen to my journey.
Yeah. Funny, on our group this morning, there's a lady there and her body's presenting quite a lot of ailments, but it's wonderful even to have that conversation, to say, the inability sometimes that we have that we cannot do for ourselves if we're in an environment that is not serving us, i.e. work, any sort of relationship, any type of thing. And our dream is to maybe have a different work environment, a different relationship. But we, as the human and the ego, we have the inability to step ourselves away from it. It's not that the universe or God or whatever is punishing us. It's like, I'm going to help you here, but we're going to do it my way. And unfortunately, it might look like a tragedy. It might look like it's not that pleasant, and it might be painful, but this is the only thing, to get you through to wherever it is and to learn from this. And I always believe I love listening to people, even their stories about their illnesses, because there's always this fabulous light that comes out. It's like this, I don't know, like a caterpillar, turning into the butterfly. It's like the shedding of the old and into the new.
Absolutely. And with every lesson, I truly believe there's a blessing. And I know that's hard from when people are suffering, or if they're really, really struggling. But there has to be, because it wouldn't be given to us if there wasn't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it any easier. Hearing this is not going to make your journey any easier, but it'll give you that wee bit of hope to know that, right, I need to look deeper. I need to keep looking deeper, because what we do on this planet as humans is we keep looking outward. Give me more love, show me more love, give me more materialistic things. I want a bigger bank balance. I want a bigger house. I want a bigger, everybody wants, outside of them, they want more from outside of them, and they want it bigger and better. Yet when you get it, you want more. And when you get that, you want more. So it's like a child. The more you give them, the more they want. So it's turning it inward and putting the mirror up, in front of you, and start to look inward and start to look at your conditioning, look at the programs that you have running in your mindset, and how you're then possibly attracting those type of people, places, environments, situations into your life again because of these conditioned thoughts. Look at your genes, but then also look at the epigenetics above the genes, the environment where the gene is. And it's not living by what other people say, it's living by the way you want it your way.
Yeah.
And sorry.
No, I was just replying back. I just went, yeah. I think, whenever we say, look at our conditioned patterns, and people, we sit and study and go, but how am I'm conditioned? It's not me that's the problem. It's his fault. It's her fault. It's not me. And that's the key point. If you have somebody to blame, wrong person. And it's not about blaming yourself either. If you feel that somebody else has made your life the way it is, if you feel someone has made you angry, what they have done, and certainly there's been things that it doesn't excuse anyone's behavior, but that's the first key. If I'm pointing the finger of blame to someone, I have refused to take responsibility.
Mm-hmm. I truly believe that if someone, like this saying, I don't say it, but I hear people saying it all the time, they made me feel like that. They made me do it. They brought this out of me. I don't know about you or anybody on here. I don't believe that. I believe that it was already in there and they helped surface it. Because people aren't here to make your life hell and punish you and beat you down. We're all here to help each other because we're all connected. So we're all on this beautiful big planet in the center of the universe. And, are we just here to torture each other? No. And the way you hear people saying things like, oh, the kids bring me so much joy. And I'm like, no, kids bring the joy out. The joy's there. They help bring it out. So if he makes you angry, as you say, it's not that he's making you angry, it's he's bringing the anger out. So I think it kind of shifts the perception and perspective of how you are with people, so that when somebody's going to come and maybe vent to you or be cross in your environment, like if they're shouting at you, maybe if you have a cross wife or a cross husband or a cross child or family member, sometimes you just don't need to respond. Sometimes it's okay to be the space in a safe space, as long as it's safe and it's not abuse or bullying, or they don't have that, they're not coming out with the narcissistic traits or gaslighting or anything like that. Sometimes we just have to be the space. Like I know for my 3 children, I am their space every day. I know the way we talk about holding space. Like Rosie, I remember having a tantrum once and she cried her full way into the house and she went up to the cupboard. And then I said, okay, what do you need now? And she went, my Bobo. She was only a toddler, Bobo and Blanky, or Dodo and Blanky. And I gave it to her and that was her. And I remember thinking, that's what we need to do with everybody. We need to do that with everybody. Toddlers teach us so much, but yet we keep them quiet and sit down and stop you doing that and go into this awful unconscious type parenting where behavior, because it's generational, behavior is only what's the word? Punishment is the only way to handle behavior. And it's not, it's sometimes just being the space for people to let them cry, let them vent, and overall just become a better listener.
And the thing is too, and you're saying even as a coach, as a personal development coach, and you were saying that we're all here to help each other. And there's so much helping that you can do with people. People have to be willing, really willing to say, I'm done with these traits or repeating patterns in my life. I am putting in the work here, and it can be uncomfortable and it can be fearful, and it means making change. But by God, when you make that change, there ain't no way you'd go back or revert back to that. But it's lovely still to have those experiences in life where we can reflect back and say, and relate to people, have empathy. I can relate to your story because I've been there, but it's not all about me. Here's what I done. Here's what you should do.
It's not that you're here to understand everybody, because nobody could have understand where I was. I couldn't understand where somebody is, getting a divorce, and somebody maybe has been diagnosed with cancer or has lost a child or a mother or a father or whatever. We're not here all to understand each other. It's just to be here for each other, to listen. Like Daddy would always say, you've got 2 years for a reason. And I think sometimes what we do, and we probably unconsciously do it, we're listening to respond. We're not listening to understand. And sometimes it does involve no response. Just let them keep going and just be there, and maybe get them a tissue, a hug, or something, whatever it might be. So I would be very passionate about that, especially in my line of work, educating people on to become better listeners, because then when you listen, you hear things and see things and sense things you would have never heard before if you were coming at it with a response.
Mm-hmm. Communication. It's the biggest failure. Someone said yesterday they're on about a relationship as a couple. Evelyn, I mean, is it normal that we don't agree on the same thing? I says that's quite, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it's the inability to communicate. As you're saying, people can only pull out of you what's within you. If you have frustration in you, I'm not being heard, I'm not being listened to, and everybody wants to be heard. Mm-hmm. And then everybody gets frustrated and they shout at each other. And mm-hmm. It is a thing really to listen. And I've noticed whenever even learning a foreign language, that I may not understand the full sentence, but if I listen, I can pick out keywords. I can look at their face. I can see their hand gestures. I can read their body language. And now I'm able to get that, all of those, just because they don't speak English, Yeah. I can hear, certain things. And listening to ourselves, Cliodhna, do we ever stop? Do you think, does people stop to think, what did I just come out with there? What did I just say there?
Absolutely, because you might say the question your way, but I might hear it very differently. I hear it in my response because of my programs and because of my perception of life and you and the question. So it's, I suppose, reminding yourself, let your ego get out of the way when you're with people. And, you're going to talk and you're going to have the crack and you're going to have fun, and you can still have all those things. But it's when we force our opinions and beliefs onto others, we're probably doing more damage than good.
Yeah. And as you said at the start, whenever you read The Secret, it's so exciting, or you start feeling this, oh gosh, these things actually happen. We had to tell you, you should read this book. You should, and we have this of you should, and I done it, guilty.
We all did at the start.
And you shouldn't be thinking like that. You shouldn't be talking like that. I'm like, to tell somebody you shouldn't be. Okay. I think whenever you go down the line of hearing and knowing the absolute power of our words, whether they're silent words or what it is, what we cast out to others. And sometimes, and then this is something, we're all human too, and I falter and fail and flawed many a time, but I learned from that. If I happen to see something on social media that triggers me, and I can feel it in the top of my belly here, mm-hmm. and that I'm judging on someone, if I do not want to put that energy out to them, I'll have to hit unfollow or something till I can get my stuff together, that I can actually not hold judgment on someone else, because I definitely don't want to put that energy out to someone else, because by God, it'll come back to me bigger and better than ever I could put out to anyone else.
That's great awareness that you have to do that, and I'd be trying to educate my children with that, and my nieces and nephews, and just any child I can get, near, like any, in the football club or anything. I'd be talking to them about, if something's triggering to you, if something or someone has triggered something within you, that it's okay. For starters, it's there. You don't know how it got there, and it's not your fault that it's there. It's just there. Allow that to let it naturally come out. And it's a good job you said unfollow, because if only we could get more people to do that. And it's not just our young people. So I'm kind of course correcting myself here. It's not just our young people. I see it with my age group and older, and anyone I work with and anyone I'm around. Everybody's doing it, but yet it's the young people that get the finger pointed at them, and it's the young people that are going to suffer. Where I'm sitting looking at my generation going, are we blind? Like, can we not see the overusage of, you're addicted to your phone, you're not communicating. It is and has become the ruination of parenting and relationships of all sorts. I'll not stay in company of somebody who's sitting on their phone. I can't do it. I just feel it's very rude, and I don't want to be judgmental, because they're not doing anything. I remember thinking somebody was doing something really important on their phone. I kind of give them half an hour more, and then I realized they were playing a game, and I said, okay, I'm out of here. So I just know I'm aware now of the people I want to be around, and the people I'm going to make an effort for and with, because they want to be in my company, so they want to be around me. But everybody,
Yes, I always say, I think it was Declan Coyle says, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
Love that saying. Go where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated. And it's all right to say, cheerio.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very true. And I suppose it's just about awareness, isn't it? It's just about becoming aware of yourself, of this life, this world, this energy field, this reality we're in. It's just becoming more aware. And when you practice that, so we all know it just doesn't happen right away. And this is when everybody's patience gets tested at the start of any journey. And I'll say to them, hold on a minute, let's bring this back to basics. If I was signing you up for a marathon at the end of the year, you would only be starting to train now, and we would have to inject a diet schedule, like protein schedule, a rest, recovery, training schedule for you to be able to do, the Dublin Marathon, say, at the end of the year. But you want to fix your mindset right now, and for it to happen literally overnight. What age are you? Okay, you're 32. Oh my goodness, well, we need to go back 32 years. So it's not that we're going to have to go deep into every incident and every year of your life, but there's a lot of stuff happens, say, in those 32 years that's might take the next 32 to recover, and that's okay. It's just being, I suppose, patient with yourselves. And me, I practice this to myself all the time. I'm like, be patient.
And you will have your master teachers presented to you that will, we say, they've tested my patience. They get on my every nerve ending. I think that's my master teacher. When I can be in that person's presence and be patient, I have that wee bit solved or sorted.
Yeah. You can set your wee reminders as well. So the children have known nothing else, only me talking about mindset, understanding your thoughts. We do reprogramming every night in this house. And, they would do sometimes meditation with me, stretching, yoga. They're just part of it. Like, they're all into the kombucha juice now with me. They just copy everything they see me doing, basically. Not everything, but most things. And this morning, we were about 15 minutes behind schedule. That leaves it very, very tight, as anybody knows. Trying to get young kids out in the morning, that 15 minutes is a disaster zone. And I was at the sink, and I was like, right, so will you, and you get into it. Tommy came behind me and went, Mommy, breathe. And I went, thank you.
I know.
And then I was fine, but I was about 20 seconds into getting stressed, and he was like, Mommy, breathe. So it's usually Hannah Marie, will say, relax. Okay, what are you getting stressed about? But Tommy then spoke up today and went, Mummy, breathe.
Yeah.
And I thought, there you go. If we could all have, instead of pushing this work onto everybody we know and see, plant the little seeds and they'll become your reminders.
Surely.
When you
Yeah, it's wonderful. I do see a change, of a generational change now because our parents just knew what they knew, their parents knew what they knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe the systems that are in place here on this earth are designed for a lot of people. They're human, they're man-made. A lot of people love systems. They love being able to tell what time to start, finish, get up, go to sleep. When your holidays are, people love systems. It saves them really of having to think too much really for themselves. School systems, education, church, a lot of things are systems based. That's man-made, and we have there is control and there is rules and regulations and all to follow on that. But as you said there, Cliodhna, and I'll finish on this topic here, just that when you start to see life a wee bit differently, that we're here just to experience it. When we get that, we're not so diluted or pulled in and sucked into the actual thing. This is only an experience. I am only literally going through an experience. So what is it that I would choose to experience? So on to end today's podcast, are there any more experiences that are coming forth, are going to manifest or unfold in Cliodhna's life, or we're just going to allow it to see what happens?
I have pretty much accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish, and I'm very delighted with that. There's two little things. One involves travel and the other involves building a house. So which comes first, we'll just have to wait and see. But I was fortunate to be traveling from I was 5 with Mummy and Daddy and all my brothers and sisters, and we went somewhere foreign every year. And it opened my eyes just to the world. So I've always been traveling, probably more quieter now in the past few years since I've had the 3 children, but more the house. Yeah, we need a new house because we're in a very old house at the minute. We've been here since. But travel, I just love traveling, and I know the children do too, and they're dying to get to see places. And I just think we've got a beautiful big world to explore.
Yeah. So God's hand just didn't finish at our front gate. It's all over the place.
Very much
wonderful.
So.
Well, they are great experiences, Cliodhna, for your family, for your children, and what they're going to unfold in their lives is a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful thing, because that's the next generation going to come up, and they're going to bring about wonderful changes, and they're going to have different communication skills, and they're going to know more about themselves. Yeah. Cliodhna, thank you so much. And if anyone would like to reach out to Cliodhna, I know you do one-to-one coaching, and you have now and again, you have workshops that come up, Cliodhna. You can get her on Instagram, and I'm going to spell Cliodhna for you again. It's Cliodhna, Fullen, Fullen. Instagram, YouTube.
YouTube.
All over the place.
Everywhere. I'm everywhere.
Just like God. She's every road. Cliodhna, thank you so much for your time today. I hope today's podcast has made a difference to your day and possibly even your life. If you'd like to be a future guest on my podcast show, please reach out by email. It's evelyn@evelynmcaleer.com. If you'd like to receive any of my books, A Life You Want, Effortless of the Woman's Journey, you'll find them on Amazon. And if you're in the market for an inspirational speaker, someone that can share stories or that may benefit your workplace or colleagues or a community, I am always available. Again, you can get me on my email, evelyn@evelynmcaleer.com. Thank you so much for your time today.